Jacob Greenberg, in his explorations of the mind and consciousness, spoke of a unified field where everything is connected. But that connection is not found by looking outside. It is not about talking to an external force but about listening to the inner voice that has always been there. You have been told a story, one that for centuries has woven a veil over the truth of who you really are. From childhood, we were taught to look for God outside, to perceive Him as something external, distant, and unattainable. We were told that power is outside of us, that who we are depends on something or someone else to guide our path. But today, I want you to contemplate a different possibility. Imagine the universe not as empty space, but as a vibrant field of infinite possibilities. Every thought you have, every emotion you feel, resonates in that field, shaping itself from a distance. It is the force that flows through you, that creates with you, that is expressed in every word, every decision, and every action. You are not God, but you were created in His image. You are definitely divine. So why talk to God when you can talk like Him? When you talk like God, you do not use words that ask or beg. Instead, your words are decrees. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is remembering that in the silence of your mind, in the stillness of your being, there is a voice that does not need to shout to be heard. It is a voice that affirms, that believes, that manifests. This shift in perspective requires an act of courage to leave behind the narrative of separation, the narrative that tells us that we are not enough, that we need something external to complete us. Have you ever thought that maybe we are already complete? We were created in His image, of course, we are complete. Speaking like God is not an act of loud words but of deep silence. Silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. It is in that space where you find clarity. Think of the moments of true connection you have had in your life, those moments in which words seemed unnecessary. That is the essence of the divine speaking through you. It is not about looking for something that is lost, nor about building something that is missing. It is an act of remembering that you are already part of this cosmic symphony. The power to create and transform is not outside, but within. Speaking like God means acting from within, from a heightened awareness, from a deep understanding that your thoughts and emotions are the tools with which you shape your reality. The power to transform your life lies not in asking for something outside of yourself, but in awakening to what you already are, a living expression of the infinite. What would happen if you began to live from that truth? Speaking like God is not just an act of remembering who you are, but also of aligning all aspects of your being with that truth. This is where the magic happens. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions begin to vibrate in tune with the divine energy that already lives within you, you create harmony. But how is this alignment achieved? Imagine that your mind is a conductor and your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are the musicians. If one of them is out of tune, if your thoughts go in one direction while your emotions are filled with doubt or fear, the symphony loses harmony. Speaking like God requires that every instrument within you be in perfect tune. Alignment is not something that happens by accident, it is a conscious process. It begins with observation. Ask yourself, do my thoughts support what I want to create? Do my emotions reflect confidence, or are they tinged with doubt? Every time you notice a discrepancy, see it as an opportunity to realign. Speaking like God is not just about words, it's about your actions, your decisions, and your vibrations. Everything in the universe responds to the energy you emit. This is the secret that many do not know: the power does not reside in what you say, but in how you say it. From what internal place you say it. When you express yourself from the certainty that you are already part of the divine, there is no need to convince the universe. There is no need to beg. Your vibration is your prayer, and that prayer is answered automatically because there is no separation between the one who asks and the one who answers. Speaking as God also means taking responsibility for your life as a creator. You are not a passive observer in the universe, you are an active force that shapes your reality. This can be both empowering and challenging. Empowering because it reminds you that you have the power to transform any situation, and challenging because it forces you to honestly look at your beliefs and internal patterns. Every time you face an obstacle, don't see it as a barrier, see it as an invitation to more deeply align your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Ask yourself, how can I approach this from my divine nature? When you do this, something profound happens. Problems that once seemed immense begin to crumble, not because they magically disappear, but because your perspective changes. When things don't work out as you expected, instead of blaming circumstances or external forces, stop and reflect, am I aligned? Am I speaking as God, or am I speaking from fear? This simple act of self-assessment brings you back to your center, reminding you that true power is not in controlling the outside world, but in mastering your inner world. The first step to embodying the divine is presence. Presence is not just being physically here, it is being fully aware, without distractions, in the present moment. When you are present, you open a space where the infinite can flow through you. Instead of worrying about what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow, being present allows you to connect with the only moment that truly matters, now. Speaking like God doesn't happen in the past or the future, it happens here, in this instant. Think about the moments in which you felt most alive, most connected. Maybe it was a sunset, a deep conversation, or a simple walk in nature. In those moments, you were not looking for anything. You were simply being. That is the essence of the divine in action. Embodying the divine does not mean living isolated in spiritual contemplation. It means acting in the world with clarity and alignment with your inner truth. Every action, from the smallest to the largest, becomes a sacred act when performed with awareness. Embodying the divine is not a destination, it is a journey. There will be days when you feel fully connected and days when doubt or fear clouds your clarity. But even in those moments, remember, you are not separate from the divine. You are the divine in action. The practice of speaking like God requires consistency. Spend a few minutes each day reconnecting with your inner self. This can be through meditation, visualization, or simply sitting in silence and feeling your own presence. This daily habit strengthens your connection and reminds you of who you really are. This is just the beginning. Speaking like God is an infinite journey of self-discovery and conscious creation. Every day is a new opportunity to align yourself more deeply, to act with intention, and to live from love. I want to invite you to reflect, what message are you sending to the universe at this moment? Is it a message of separation or unity, of lack or abundance? Remember, the power to transform your life is not outside of you, it has always been within. Recognizing the divinity in you is the greatest favor you can do for yourself on your spiritual journey. Things become easier when you no longer have to look for something because you already have it. When you no longer have to look outside, because it is already inside. When you no longer have to wait for an answer, because you yourself answer.